Hello students and welcome to the lecture. So students, as we know that we are covering the financial system, okay? And in the financial system, basically we are covering the payment and the settlement system, okay? Under this series, we have several topics to discuss, like we are going to discuss with the introduction, then the National Electronic Fund Transfer, immediate payment service, real-time gross settlement, unified payment interface, conclusion. Okay, so these are the topics we have scheduled for the discussion. Okay, so how many topics we have completed so far? We have completed the introduction, we have completed the National Electronic Fund Transfer, we had completed the immediate payment service, real-time gross settlements we have already completed, and what we were discussing the unified payment interface. Okay, and the last topic is the conclusion part. Okay, so these are the topics which we have completed and these topics which we are about to complete. Okay, so I hope that you have revised the previous lectures in the well enough manner before you have come for this lecture. As so many times I have told you, it is for your own benefit. So if you are doing this on the regular basis, that will be beneficial for you. If you are not doing this on the regular basis, that will be harmful for you. That's it. Okay, so with this note, let's start this lecture. So about the history, we have seen that the following establishment of the NPCI Corporation, NPCI National Payment Corporation of India in the 2009. The RBI noted that only 6 non-transactions were occurring per individual citizens annually in India, with 10 million retailers accepting card payments. Okay, about NPCI we had already seen. The RBI focus on the reducing cash transaction was driven by its efforts to combat black money and the corruption. Why? Because we had you can say taken an overview that the cash transactions are generally having no records. The cash transactions generally having no records. Okay, that's why it is hard to trace them and to keep the record of them. Okay, so this increases the cases of black money and the corruption. Okay, why? That the government, you can say authorities are not eligible to look after these transactions and to trace them. And that's why the RBI was basically focusing on that time during the time period of 2009 that we must having some UPI like system or the unified payment interface system so that the people could be encouraged for the online transaction or the digital transaction so that the records could be maintained and tracing of transactions become easy. All right, so this is the main aim. Got it? India also sought to introduce the green initiative to reduce the paper usage. This initiative aimed to make payments more environmentally friendly while also ensuring they were inclusive, accessible, and secure. Okay, because we know that the cash transactions, whenever we're talking about them, then we know that the cash transactions are always using paper note, right? And we know that the papers are basically come from the trees. We have to cut the trees, then we have to use the papers, and that's okay. So that's why if there will be a more paper note circulation in the economy, or you can say in the monetary sphere, the more trees are to be cut. Okay, so that's why we are required to reduce the burden, or you can say usage of the paper currency, and thus we are required to promote the online transactions, because in the online transaction there is no need for having the paper note, and that's how we could save the environment also. Okay, these factors collectively lead to the launch of the UPI payment system in 2016, which has experienced significant growth in India, establishing it as the largest real-time payment market. Okay, so what we have seen, that basically, however, the NPCI was established in 2009, but it took it 7 years to launch the platform like the UPI in the 2016. Okay, so remember, the UPI was basically launched for the public usage in the 2016. Okay, since after this, it has experienced a significant growth in India, and right now it is the world's largest real-time payment market. Okay, world's largest online transactions have been recorded in India by using the UPI. Okay, so that's how the UPI progressed. So here we have taken the history of the UPI, like how the UPI worked. Okay, so here is the key features of the UPI. First is the unified payment interface. UPI is an advanced version of IMPS, providing round-the-clock fund transfer service for faster and the smoother cashless payments. Now, if we go back to the reasons why we are required the UPI when we already had the other payment systems. So the one of the major, you can say, reasons were innovation and competition. Okay, innovation and the competition. Why? Because if we go by the innovation and the competition basis. So first, competition we had already seen. So now we are required to look after the innovation. Okay. So what is the innovation behind it? Innovation means when already existed thing is modified. Already existed thing is modified. This is the innovation. Okay. And what is invention then? What is the invention? When totally new thing established. Okay, so if we look at this picture, so what we are seeing that it is an advanced version of the IMPS, and we know that IMPS was already existed. Okay, so we haven't discovered a new thing, we have just modified the existed thing. So that's why it is innovation, not the invention. Okay, so it is an advanced version of IMPS, providing round-the-clock fund transfer for faster and the smoother cashless payments. Okay, integrates multiple bank accounts in a single mobile application, allowing seamless fund routing and the merchant payments, which we had already seen in the introduction part. Okay, UPI is the largest system operated by NPCI, National Payment Corporation of India, surpassing other systems like NACH, IMPS, AEPS, BPPS, and the RuPay. So what are these systems? So basically, if we go by these systems, then basically we are required to look at the definitions of them. Okay, like the NACH, okay, thereafter the AEPS, okay, thereafter the BPPS, and last is the RuPay. Okay, so what is the full form? National Automated Clearinghouse, full form. Second one stands for the Aadhaar Enabled Payment System. Okay, BPPS stands for the Bharat Bill Payment System, and RuPay is the domestic card launched by NPCI. Okay, so just you can say you are required to know the full form of these areas: NCH, APS, PPS, and the RuPay. Okay, all of these things have been surpassed, or you can say merged, and the one single thing which is known as the unified payment interface, or the UPI, was created. Okay, top UPI apps, as we had seen that the UPI is basically combining all the things at the one single window, which is the UPI app. So the UPI apps are like the PhonePe, Paytm, Google Pay, Amazon Pay, and the Bheem. Bheem is the government app. Okay, so here you could see that these are the top UPI apps. Okay, international linkage. UPI will be linked to the Singapore's Pay Now under an agreement. Okay, so basically what happened that the UPI is belong to the India, right? Similarly, Pay Now is belong to the Singapore, and they both are, you can say, similar at some extent. Like in India, you are required to fulfill the UPI ID, okay, phone number, or QR code to make the payment, right? Similarly, in the Pay Now system, you are required to mention the mobile number, okay, thereafter national registration ID card, foreign ID card, and virtual payment address. To make the payments, and the virtual payment address is very much similar to the UPI ID. Okay, so if you look at this, then you will find that these two apps having the similarities. Okay, that's why basically we merge them, okay, so that we could facilitate online easy transactions cross borders. Okay, so you could say that if someone is sitting in Singapore and if someone sitting is in India, okay, they both could make the payments or receive the payments by using the UPI or the Pay Now, because both of them you can say link together so that they could facilitate the payments of each other. Okay, and that thing could be possible because both of them are using the systems for making the payments, which is very much similar. Okay, like UPI ID, phone number, QR codes is with us. Singapore system is mobile number, national registration ID card number, foreign ID card number, and the virtual payment system, which is also known as VPA. And this is very much similar to the UPI ID system, which we use in India. Okay. Launch and the membership. NPCI launched UPI with 21 members of banks in the 2016, marking a significant step in the digital payments in India. Like you could say that when we were launching the UPI system, that was the year of 2016 when the UPI was launched. So how many members we had on that time? Only 21 banks. Okay. So 21 banks were agree with us, or you can say agree with the NPI to launch some system like this. Okay. So this is very you can say important information. Keep this thing in your mind. Like when the UPI was launched, only the 21 members were there. Okay. Now we have the working of the UPI. UPI is the real-time payment system developed by the National Payments Corporation of India. Allows users to transfer money between bank accounts using their smartphones. Okay. Like you are required to have a phone to scan the QR to fill the details and other things. Okay. Real time we had discussed, once the amount debited from the sender's account, immediately the account will be credited in the receiver's account. Okay. This process is done in the real time, no time gap, no time lagging. Okay. So first is the working. Eliminates the need to exchange the sensitive information such as account numbers and the IFSC code. Like if we're talking about the other ones, like the NEFT and all. Okay, so we know that whether it was the NEFT, okay, whether it's for the RTGS, in all of these systems, basically what we were doing, we were fulfilling the informations like the account number, like the IFSC code and all. Okay, this is the sensitive information. Okay, but when we you can say when we use the UPI, okay, in UPI you are not required to fill all these details. You are just required to fill the UPI ID, fill the mobile number, or you can say just scan the QR code. That's make the UPI is a secured payment way option. Okay. So what are the requirements for using UPI valid bank account? Okay. Before this, let me tell you one thing. Like how does the UPI works? Okay. Here is the sender. Then the PSP. Then the NPCI. Then the PSP. Then the XYZ. Then the ABC. Then the receiver. Okay, that's how the UPI works. Once the here PSP is the payment service provider. Okay, or you could say the company of which app you are using, like Phone Pay you are using, then the Phone Pay is your PSP. Google Pay you are using, so the Google Pay is your PSP. Okay, so once the sender initiate the process, means by using the UPI app, so the PSP, or you can say suppose he is using the Phone Pay, so the Phone Pay is a PSP. Once he initiate the process, the PSP sends the request to the NPCI. Okay, NPCI forward the request to the PSP of receiver's account. Similar request has been provided to the sender's bank. Okay, like the sender has mentioned this amount and he wants to transfer this amount. Okay, this PSP request will be provided to the receiver. Okay, and the ABC will receive the amount from the XYZ and inform the same to the NPCI. Okay, that's how the system works. Initiate the process, the PSP inform the NPCI, NPCI informs the sender's bank. Sender's bank transfer the money to the receiver's bank. Okay, receiver's bank communicate the same to the NPCI that the amount has been received. NPCI informs the receiver's PSP and the receiver's PSP informs the receiver that the account has been credited with this amount. Okay, so that's how the you can say the UPI system actually works. Okay, just you can say keep this flow chart in your mind. Also, you can take the screenshot and you can make it later also. So what are the requirements? First is a valid bank account. You must have an active bank account with a bank that supports UPI's transaction. Then only you could make the UPI transaction. If you can say your account or bank is not supporting the UPI, you will not be able to use the UPI. Active phone number linked to the bank account. Your mobile number must be linked to your bank account for verification and the security purposes, because sometime the OTP or you can say the one-time passwords have been sent to your bank accounts so that you could validate the process that you are the one who are using it. Smartphone. UPI transactions are typically be initiated through mobile apps, so you need a smartphone to access and use the UPI app, because the PSP, or you can say the payment service provider, okay, of which app you are using, the app you are required to install in your smartphone. So if you're not having the smartphone, then you will not be able to you can say install the app, and if you're not able to install the app, you will not be able to make the payments. Okay. A stable internet connection. A stable internet connection is required to ensure that the transactions are processed securely and quickly. Because if you're not having the internet connection in the stable form, then what will happen? The information will be lacking while communicating to the NPCI, and all the information you are receiving from the NPCI will be lacking also. And sometimes it is also happened that the amount has been debited from your account, but has not been credited into the receiver's account. Why? Because of the lacking of internet connection. That might be the instructions which you have passed, received your bank, but not forwarded to the other one. Okay. So that's why it is advisable that you must have the stable internet connection. Then only you could ensure that the communication could be in the smoother way. Okay. UPI. You can download the UPI enabled mobile app from your bank or a third party provider. Okay. Basically, you could only you can say process the UPI while you are using the what? You are using the you could say the PSP or the payment service provider. And the payment service providers are generally having their own UPI enabled mobile app. Okay. So if you want to use the UPI process, so you are required to install the Phone Pay, you can say the Google Pay, okay, like you could say the Paytm, okay, Amazon Pay, okay, Bhim, and all right. And if you are not, you can say you are not capable, and if you are not sure that you are required to install the third party providers, so you could install your bank's app also. Okay. Like nowadays, most of the banks providing their mobile applications. Okay. So after downloading the mobile applications, whenever you will open your mobile phones, okay, whenever you go there, so what you will see? You will see that there is an option of payments. Okay. And whenever you click on the payments, so why you can say you will see the other payments options, and there is a option for UPI also. Okay. So by click on this option, you could make the payments. All right. But mostly banks requires the VPA for this. Virtual payment address, like your UPI ID. Suppose your mobile number is 987654321. This is your mobile number, for example. Okay. So this number will be utilized to create your virtual payment address for different banks. Suppose the bank has utilized your number and it has provided you this type of thing. So this is Axis Bank. It means that while you were using your UPI for receiving or making the payments for the Axis Bank account, so you could use this VPA that will identify that's whose account is this and in which bank the account is. Okay. So this is the system, and this system is generally available in the bank's app. Whenever you are using the bank's app, if you are using the Phone Pay, Google Pay, Paytm, Amazon Pay, Bhim, and other UPI apps, then generally you could use the QR code and you could utilize the mobile number. Link bank account. After installing the app, you need to link it to your bank account by providing the necessary details and verifying your identity. That's why it is you can say advisable that your mobile number must be linked with your bank account, because the bank will send the OTP, or you can say the verification code on your registered mobile number. The code you are required to fill in the app so that the app could verify that it is the real owner of the account or not. Okay. So if your number is not registered with the bank, you will not be able to use it. Generate UPI PIN. Once your account is linked, you will be promoted to generate a UPI PIN. The PIN is used to authorize transactions and should be kept confidential. For different banks, different PIN will be there. Okay. For example, if you are having the SBI account, you are having the Axis Bank account, you are having the HDFC account, you are having the Yes Bank account. Okay. If these accounts you are having, you are required to maintain the separate pins for separate banks. Okay. The pin for SBI is different, for Axis is different, for HDFC is different, for Yes Bank is different. Okay. No same pin could be utilized for any of them. Okay. So that it could protect your identity, it could protect your security. Enter recipient's UPI ID. To make a payment, you need to enter the recipient's UPI ID, which is similar to an email address, but it is used for identify bank accounts. Okay, like UPI ID is very much similar to the virtual payment address. Okay, which is different and which is, you can say, unique. It is different and unique for each customer. Okay, because it is used to identify the benefactor, or so you can say the benefactor and the beneficiary, like who is sending the money and who is receiving the money. Okay, so if it is same, then the things could be different. Transfer amount, specify the amount you want to transfer to the recipient, like you have to fill the amount which you are required to transfer. To authorize the transaction, you need to enter your UPI pin. This pin ensures that only you can initiate the transfer from your account. Okay, like suppose you have scanned the QR code, you have entered the amount. For example, you are paying rupees 100. Okay, then you are required to select the bank, like you are making the payment by the SBI. Okay, thereafter by the Axis, by Paytm. Okay, by Bheem, whatever account you are using. Okay, sorry, this is not the bank accounts. Okay, like the Kotak Bank or not. Okay, so you are required to select the account. Once you select the account, then you are required to enter the PIN so that you could authorize the transaction. Instant transfer, once the amount will be debited from your account, same time credit to the receiver's account. Direct bank transfer, funds are transferred directly between bank accounts, eliminating the needs for intermediaries. As we have seen, the PSP will send the request to the NPCI. The NPCI will communicate it to the bank. Then the bank will update whether the payment has been made. The NPCI will send the request, or you can see the briefing to the PSP of the receiver. The receiver will be informed that this much amount has been credited to your account. Okay, so there is no intermediary in between. Daily transaction limit, yes, there is a daily transaction limit. For ordinary transactions, only up to rupees 1 lakhs you could make in one day. For education and healthcare, you could make rupees 5 lakhs transaction per day. Okay, but on your banks, or you can say as per the bank's policies, 25,000 to 1 lakh is the daily limit for the transactions, which is differ from bank to bank. Okay, but for ordinary transactions, the limit could not be exceeded by 1 lakh, and for education and health, it could be only exceeded up to the 5 lakhs. Then the eligibility, you must having the bank account, okay, that supports the UPI transaction, and most of the banks in India nowadays supports the UPI transaction. A smartphone, you are required to having the smartphones because it is having the internet connectivity, and you are required to install the app in the smartphone. Then over you can make the payments. Mobile number must be linked to your bank account because it is crucial for receiving the OTPs. If you are not receiving the OTP, you will not be able to initiate the process. A stable internet connection is required to access the UPI app in initial transactions, because if the internet connection is not stable and intercepted in between, then the transaction will be hampered. UPI app, you are required to download and install a UPI enabled app from your bank or a third party provider. This app will serve as your interface for making UPI transactions. Okay. Valid documents, some banks may require to provide your certain documents like the Aadhaar card and the PAN card for your KYC purposes, so that you could use the UPI payments. Now, the conclusion. In conclusion, the payment and settlement systems of electronic fund transfer, RTGS, NEFT have revolutionized the ways funds are transferred in India because they have brought us to the online transactions. Systems provide convenient, secure, and efficient ways of conducting financial transactions, making it easier for individuals and businesses to manage their finances. Last is, we are required to understanding these payment systems essential for the competitive exams, especially in the banking exams, as they form a critical part of the Indian financial system and contribute to the growth of economy. And you are also going to making your career in the banks, and the banks are involved in these payment systems in a very crucial way. So that's why you are required to be aware of these areas. Okay. So with this note, we have finished the payment settlement system. In the next lecture, we will start with another important topic. Till then, just revise all the facts and figures we have discussed in this lecture. Be ready for the another lecture. With this note, let's end this lecture and thank you.